But let's turn to part 3 of our teleconference and look at the standards of excellence. Now, throughout our program today, we've been looking at examples of successful distance learning programs, and we've seen that it helps to build upon what works best for you. But what is best? What are the elements of success? To help us answer these questions, we're going to take a look at standards of excellence from 2 perspectives, student and faculty. We're going to start with an edited version of a live student panel featured at a College of the Air Teleconsortium professional development activity on November 20th, 1992.
I'm delighted to serve again this year as moderator of a panel to explore student perceptions of distance learning. Our theme this year is the pursuit of excellence. Those of us committed to distance learning must occasionally remind ourselves that technology and non-traditional learning environments alone are no substitutes for excellence in teaching, in administration, and in student performance. We're fortunate this morning that we have 5 excellent Telecourse students who have joined us to discuss their experiences with distance learning. Let's meet our panel. We're going to begin to my left, and I'd like each of you to introduce yourselves by name and college affiliation, and if you like, and this is up to you, maybe a sentence or 2 about your educational or career goals.
Deborah McCormick. I represent Northern Virginia Community College. I have a bachelor's, a BA in history from George Mason, which I obtained in 1976. And I am working on a second endorsement. I also hold a collegiate professional teaching certificate by the state.
My name is Scott Snyder. I'm also a representative of NOVA. Career goals would really be to try and push myself as far as possible, both in an educational standpoint and my career of sports marketing.
You found the telecourses first in the schedule.
Right.
And
then I went to the advisor. Well, I knew I needed those courses to get my degree. So I said, okay, they're in the telecourse. I don't have much time to attend classes. This is what I want. And I'm more or less a pretty determined person, so I say, okay, this is what I'm going after, and I proceed in that manner.
Okay. So. Was this fairly typical, Doug?
Yeah, at Howard Community College, the advisors are very good at warning you that telecourses are actually more time-consuming than regular courses. So,
as we continue looking at student perspectives of distance education excellence, I'd like to welcome our guests, Wayne Page and Sharon Bowen. Thank you for joining us today. Sharon, let me start with you. How did the quality of your telecourse experience compare to that of traditional on-campus courses?
Well, I found it to be very comparable. I enjoyed the feeling of being an adult learner, if you will, and also an individual rather than somebody in the sea of faces.
What expectations did you have of your instructors?
Probably the most important, creativity and a little innovation, because this is such a new and different area. You can expand on things and you can do different things, and that's what I was looking for.
Okay. How important, or what was important to you in terms of interaction with the instructor and with your fellow students?
Well, I thought that it was very important that the instructor be there for me, either in terms of being available, email or bulletin board or whatever method, but to be able to offer some encouragement, some follow-up, some feedback on assignments, whatever, and just be there if I needed a helping hand.
So, are there ways to enhance interaction, and what are some suggestions to do that?
Well, yes, there are. Before I answer that question, Doris, I'd like to thank Sharon Bowen and the other members of the panel for appearing with us for the College of the Air. I might add that they do this without compensation, and they meet with us as colleagues, and they just did a wonderful job, and I thank you.
Great.
Well, I think it's not a mystery that distance learning offers us 2 avenues of interaction. The first, of course, is the traditional one, where we have the face-to-face interaction. The student visits the faculty offices faculty member organizes tutorials, conferences. It meets with students, perhaps even phones randomly to check, see how they're doing. But I think the thing that the new guy on the block is interaction through technology, and this is the exciting part of it. I think that where we have email, we have teleconferencing, where we have the kinds of technological developments that we can't even imagine today that are on the horizon. I think that it's the marriage of these two forms of interaction that make it possible for faculty, for students to manage their energies and their times more efficiently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have some faxes that have come in, and I'd like to ask you these questions. The one comes from Linda Hanrahan. She's at WCNY-TV in Syracuse, and she asks, do you provide any pre-course preparation for distance learning to help students improve study habits and independent work?
I do. I create a series of study guides I teach a course, Science and Human Creativity, and this is based on the Jacob Bronowski Ascent of Man series. So I've generated a series of study guides for my students. They receive these by mail or through me personally, and then we meet in tutorials and discuss the content that those study guides cover.
Okay. Wayne, let me come back to you. Were there any hidden barriers to your success?
Well, one that occurs to me is fear of change. I think that affects all of us. And the perception that technology, new pedagogies, somehow might threaten our position in the classroom. And I think that kind of attitude leads to isolation. And when we become isolated, feel as if we're teaching in a kind of higher learning vacuum, I think that's a certain recipe for professional suicide. Okay. We have to be very careful.
All right. Wayne, what suggestions do you have for improving responsiveness to students' needs in distance learning?
3, flexibility, flexibility, flexibility. I can't say it enough. We have to be flexible in terms of the scheduling of classes, meeting times, flexibility in terms of the manner in which we convey content, flexibility in the kinds of interaction. So I think this is a theme that comes up again and again in my discussions with students. The other way in which I think we can respond is to realize that we need to embrace new technology. We're in the 1990s now. I remember when I began teaching in 1970, I thought I was at the cutting edge with my TV set and 3/4-inch U-matic video tape recorder, and these days, well, we see the integration or the marriage of computers, of telecommunications, media, and I think this is going to set the scene for the 90s and right on into the 21st century, so that's very important.
And we've got to get with it.
We do indeed.
All right. Thank you both for being with us.